So do you, I'm sorry, did you have?
No.
Okay, so do you outline and then plan some of that hook in your outline when you outline and say, all right, in this part, I need to do you do any of that? Do you outline? Because the look on your face is like, oh.
No, I don't outline. What I usually do is I sketch.
Okay.
So I sit down and I have an idea of what I'm going to write, and I might do like a 20,000 word or a 30,000 word sketch. And in a lot of places it's a description of the book, like something really exciting has to happen here.
Right. Right.
Joke here. And going back through the drafts that I'm working on right now. Well, in The Thief, yes, I insert story here. But now I keep finding little notes to myself. Does anybody else get notes to themselves in their manuscripts that says, don't skip this bit?
Yeah.
Because there's this impulse when you have a sticky spot to just figure, I'll skip over this scene and I'll get back to it later. Right. But I don't outline. I tend more to sketch, and I do make when I'm doing a sketch, I do say things like, this has been so boring for so long. You have to say something exciting here.
Yeah.
And then when I'm going through and going through the draft again, there will be pacing notes that I have written to myself.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Good job, editor. Hey, your turn.
I definitely outline. I outline with bullet points, so I just kind of make a page, and these are the events, and this is the chronological order, and then I write them in order. I found that if I skip around too much, I'll just write all the fun parts, and then and then it'll take a lot longer for the book to get written. So if I tell myself that I'm going to start at the very beginning of the story and write it through word for word to the end in order, then I am more motivated to work through some of the tougher spots, because I know that the payout is going to be really fun when I get to write a more exciting spot later on. And this might be getting a little ways away from engaging the reader, but I did want to say, as far as writing and outlining, I think that everybody owes it to themselves to try writing in outlining, and also writing by not outlining, to see what works. Because for the longest time I thought I was not an outliner. I thought I just sit down and it just flows, but it didn't flow. Looking back, it was not so good. But I didn't think I was an outliner, and so I never let myself outline. And then one day I was like, well, I'm going to try to outline a novel and see how it goes, and it went so much better. And from that point on, I knew that I needed to outline everything I did. But I wouldn't have discovered that if I hadn't tried both ways to see what worked better for me. So that's just a little piece of advice that I would throw out there, is try outlining and then try not outlining and see which one works better for you.
You write page 1, word 1, all the way. You're so brave. I don't do that. I didn't start that way. I outline obsessively and draft once, and then I go back and do heavy edits. But the way I outline has differed from book to book, and that was a revelation for me. I wrote Hourglass Door. I drafted, this is what happens in chapter 1, and this is what happens in chapter 2, and then something really cool happens in chapter 3. I'll have to come back to that. And I all the way down. And then I wrote the book out of order, and I wrote the scenes I loved the most, and then I wrote the scenes that I knew were going to be important and had to be in, and then I wrote all the dumb things, and then I stitched it all together, and I cut out the dumb stuff, and suddenly I had a book. And it was like magic. And I thought, cool, now I know how to write a book. That's what I'm going to do for book 2 in the series, right? That's not how I did it for book 2 in the series at all. And I outlined it a totally different way with colored index cards, and I laid them out on the floor, and I moved things around, and then I wrote chapter 1, page 1, word 1, straight through to the end. And I thought, okay, now I know how to write a book. That's what I'm going to do for book 3. And that's not what I did for book 3 at all. Not even a little bit. I did summaries. It wasn't even broken into chapters. This is what happens, and then they fight about this, and then somebody will say this really cool line of dialogue that I have in my head, and then they're going to go over here and make sure I bring up this point because that's going to come and be important later, and then they do this and this and this, and something really cool happens here, and don't put the zombies in, and we're going to be all done. And then I wrote it start to finish. But what that taught me was that every book is going to be just a little bit different, and if what worked for you on book 1 isn't working for you for book 2, then it's okay to change your process, and it's okay to outline the next one. It's okay to be a discovery writer on the next one. It's okay to have parts where you do something different. the important thing is however you get those words on the page is what's important. And when I realized that about my own process, I was much more, I felt liberated in approaching my fourth book, which wasn't part of the trilogy and something totally different and had a different feel and a different tone. I felt like, you know what, now I do know how to write a book. It's however I want to write the book is the right way to do it.